Hey, welcome back to the JohnRx broadcast, and today I'm talking about the Russian plan to invade Poland and destroy NATO. I'm a democratic socialist. I believe that the government should work for us and not for corporations. I hate fascism and am a dissident of the regime. This means that my videos don't get pushed out as much to other people. So if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more weekly-ish videos. Before diving into the war in Europe, I need to talk about Governor Cox. He did something good for once. Because of all the fires going around in Utah right now, and because it's literally dry as a bone, Governor Cox put out a ban on fireworks lasting through the 5th of July this year. I fully support this. Utah has been so incredibly dry this summer because of the lack of snowfall last winter, and because of this, literally everything will easily catch on fire. So I do support the banning of lighting off explosives around dry greenery. This holiday season. Of course, Governor Cox wrote in the executive order that towns can designate fireworks zones if they want to, so it's not a complete statewide ban. You just have to find where you want. I know that Springville and Spanish Fork are both allowing fireworks in some areas, and St. George has completely ignored the ban. So if you really want to light off fireworks this 4th of July, look online and see if there are any designated zones in your town or city and go there to light them off. We don't need any more fires. The 2 weeks we had drowning in smoke and smog were enough. I'd rather not live through that again after only being free for about a week. Moving on to more pressing news. The Russian bear prepares to strike again, this time in Poland. Reports have come out from U.S. intelligence of Russian plans for an attack on Poland in the next 3 to 6 months. U.S. intelligence warns that Poland is under threat from Russian invasion that will likely springboard from Belarus. They're doing this to test the resolve of NATO. NATO is weak right now. The United States, the main contributor of NATO, can't even open the Strait of Hormuz, can't get Iran to surrender. In fact, it was the United States who had attempted to surrender to Iran, but Israel wouldn't let us. Speaking of Israel, Israel has made several threats of war with Turkey, a NATO member, just as us. If war were to break out, the United States would be contractually obligated to help Turkey in a war against Israel, but with Israel having so much control over the United States, we'd likely do nothing, if not side with Israel. War between Turkey and Israel would destroy the NATO alliance, because Donald Trump would pick Israel over Turkey any day of the week. Donald Trump has expressed interest in leaving NATO. Why? NATO is the strongest military alliance on the planet. The United States operates best as an empire when it's in alliances with other nations to spread our weaponry and technology across the planet. Why take that away? I think Israel and Turkey may be one of those reasons, but there's a bigger reason than that, and it has to do something with the big ugly bear on the other side of the planet. Donald Trump is friends with Vladimir Putin. He respects him. Why? Because he respects authoritarians. Trump is a wannabe dictator. He wants to emulate the power and control that people like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un have. He wants that for himself. Of course, this is the United States, and we are Americans, and we don't do that bullshit here, but of course that isn't going to stop him from doing what he wants. Part of that friendship of sucking up to dictators involves him giving them things they want. Why else do you think Donald Trump rolled out the fucking red carpet for Putin like he's a greatly respected king last year in Alaska? Because to Dementia Donnie, he is a greatly respected king. I don't exactly know what Trump thinks he's getting for doing this, but Vladimir Putin is the reason Trump wants America out of the NATO alliance. Vladimir Putin wants to rebuild the Russian Empire from the 1800s. Vladimir Putin will not stop until all of Eastern, and if he can get his hands on it, Central Europe are under his thumb. Vladimir Putin started his conquest in 2014 by conquering Crimea from the Ukrainians, then started what I believe to be the start of World War III in 2022 when he invaded the rest of Ukraine. With the fighting in Ukraine stalling, Putin needs a new strategy, which is to destroy the people funding Ukraine, NATO. So Putin goes and talks to Trump, who just so happened to win the 2024 election and is good friends with him, and told him to pull out of NATO. Trump, a little bitch to anyone in power, obliged, claiming that we needed to leave NATO because it was costing us too much and other countries wouldn't help, despite the fact that they had been starting to take on more of the burden for their defense because of the activity of the bear to their east. The United States has worked as the world's police since the end of the Second World War, and now Trump wants to abandon them to the Russians when the Russians are the biggest threat to Europe they've had in decades. Remember, NATO was initially founded to keep the Russians at bay. The death of NATO in these circumstances is the equivalent to America giving up on the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on the international scale. It is a betrayal of all things we know to be right. An end of NATO will bring on the ferocity of World War III in full effect. Israel will have nothing holding them back from attacking Turkey, the Russians will have no one to stop them in Europe, and I have a sneaking suspicion that the United States will steal Greenland from Denmark and maybe even Canada from the Commonwealth. The end of NATO brings an end to the current world order as we know it. Well, that's about it for today. Just remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Happy 4th of July. Happy 250. Fuck Donald Trump. And check this out. Look out into the street and see the vibe.